TikTok, it's time to rock. You guys might already be aware of who the special guest is. I know we have a habit, guys, of dropping the special guest in after we've done a bit of like an introduction, but this guy, he doesn't need an introduction. He doesn't need a special little shout out. We'll just call him, what's his name? Keith. G'day, Keith.
How's it going?
Yeah, good to see you, brother. Good to see you. We have also Brad here with me all the way from Melbourne, and we had the Rock Professor here, so I don't know where the heck he's gone. So maybe he's jumped on another show. Maybe he's passed. Maybe. Hey, oh gosh, they act fast around here, bro.
Mate, they pass the audition and they just go straight on.
They grab them. They grab them from our show when the show's going, bro. Oh my lord. Oh, sorry. We thought you were on another show.
What, me? No. You sound like a chipmunks. I don't know what happened.
No, we
sound,
don't. I can
really
tell
wonky.
you, mate. I don't. No, mate. I they're still here. I can feel them, mate. They're still here.
Hey, Simon, we thought you went and joined another show, mate. We thought you passed the audition.
No. Yes. I think I passed. I think I'm doing fine. It's no. It's because Andrew sounded like a chipmunk. It's like really weird.
Yeah. Mate, you better knock that off now, because this is the third week in the row. So
helium. You're on the helium.
Maybe it's the beard. Maybe is there something chipmunk? Maybe it's the. I don't know.
The tail.
Maybe I should just do this and talk like that. Maybe that might be better. Carl, good to see you, brother. Good to see you.
Yeah, you can hear me.
He's back. He's back. Look.
Yeah, we can. Yeah.
The legend is back. Keith.
Keith with no teeth.
Yeah, there's a Keith guitar there.
I'm excited about the show. It's often overlooked. The critics didn't like it, and I think it's one of their masterpieces, especially of the 70s. So, yeah. But thank you for inviting me back on. I look forward to this ranking the tracks, as they say, and
cool.
Hopefully never a skip.
Awesome.
It's good to have you back.
We'll have to wait and see.
Yeah.
Oh, look at that.
You have to wait and see. There might be a couple of sleepers in there, and might be a couple of peepers, but we'll find out. Guys,
in trouble already, sir.
Yeah. Guys, if you're not already aware, we stream on a couple of platforms. So we're streaming, if you guys haven't already caught up with us, we're streaming here on the Eric Clapton Facebook group. We're also streaming over here on our All About the Blues Facebook group. We're also streaming on Twitter. So go and follow me. Find me on Twitter. I haven't got very many followers. Go and find us at Real 5150 Show. Go and find us over there. And on the bottom, you'll see some Instagram links related directly to the channel. Follow Brad, follow Simon, and you guys will keep in touch with what we're doing over there. And also, if you guys haven't been aware of what we're doing, go and have a look on the YouTube page that we've got. There's a community page, and there is also a channel page where we've linked a lot of the channels that directly relate to our channel here. And if you want to go there, put your name there, guys. That'll be really, really cool. Oh my gosh. I keep saying this every week. I think I've done my job, Brad. What do you reckon? Shall I go and sit back and drink a couple of Cokes?
I think you should sit back and enjoy the show, Andrew. Sit back and enjoy the show. Bit of a shout out to our good friend Warren. We haven't seen you for a while, buddy. I hope you're doing well, and we look forward to having your cheeky little comments in the chat here again, buddy.
The beer dispensers are ready.
The beer dispensers are waiting. They're awaiting your return.
Oh. So there's been a couple of events in the course of this week. There's one that I want to mention. I remember when I heard the news back in 1980 when I was a young fellow, just started high school, and the passing of the great John Lennon. Sad day for rock and roll history, but fits into the theme that we've done over the last couple of weeks, guys, with the Beatles Get Back shows. So, yeah, looking forward to doing more Beatles content, guys.
100%.
Yeah.
It's going to be great.
Also, a couple of people, Robbie Shakespeare from Sly Robbie, who of course played with Mick Jagger, one of his solo projects. Robbie Shakespeare, the bass player, he died this week as well. So condolences to him. Great, fantastic reggae.
They were put into a little bit of a corner where they basically did so much session work that they almost sold out. But their initial work was incredible. But they were the go-to
they were
guys.
the rhythm section to go to, weren't they?
Rhythm section, yeah.
Absolutely, yeah.
And this ties into Black and Blue, which is quite good timing, even though it's very sad, obviously.
Yeah, and
because
of course,
the influence is definitely there.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. It does tie into the album we're doing, very much so. Yeah. And of course, Mike Nesmith from the Monkees. I can remember watching that show in the '60s, the late '60s.
Hey, with the Monkees.
So they were a
Yes, we are.
A TV studio
I'm a chipmunk,
created in Hollywood to compare with the Beatles.
Yeah,
is that right?
Yeah, that's right.
And David Jones was actually from England, right? They took him over to Hollywood and said, "Here's a whole bunch of Americans."
Yeah. That's right.
Hey, we're the Monkees. That was a big show.
Big show everywhere. I think,
what's that?
First of
what's
its
that word,
kind.
Simon? Pandemonium.
Pandemonium.
That's it. Yep. Sheer pandemonium.
Yes, careful with the P words on here, Dr. Carl. It's not allowed. Otherwise, the headmaster will be on to us.
No, it's definitely well, it's that era where a lot of musicians are in their mid to late 70s now. We forget. I forget. I'm getting older, and yeah. I still think I'm in the 60s and 70s.
Yeah.
But we got the music, which is the main thing.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. So Mike Smith, Mike Nesmith was heir to the liquid paper fortune. You know that what's it called? Tipex. He was heir to the Tipex fortune. I think his mother invented Tipex. Was that not true, Andrew?
No, I'm saying I don't know.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, well, they were a colourful bunch of characters, all kind of put together. And
yeah. See, I'm a mind of useless information.
Great.
Right. Oh.
Guys, what's the album today? We're going to get into this, and we're going to go through the track listings and ranking these tracks. Simon, you're leading us through this one, aren't you?
I am.
It's your pick.
Yeah. Bit of a, as Carl said earlier, bit of a curio, I think, in the Stones canon. Not really that well regarded when it came out. I don't think particularly. I mean, because inevitably you're comparing it to Exile or something, or even Goat's Head Soup, and I think that they'd kind of started to try some different things by then. You can't, as a band, we discussed on here many times, as a band, you can't just remake Exile on Main Street endlessly, because whilst I don't think it would please the critics either, to be honest. I don't think it would please anybody. That's right.
Yeah.
That was, liquid paper, wasn't it, John? Not thank you. I was using Tipex as a kind of generic term like Hoover, but it's not the case. But so I think that when I first heard it, I've always really liked this album. I always thought it had something to it that more than maybe than maybe the critics pointed out. My good friend Gerard it is one of his favourite Stones albums. I remember him playing it to me and going, check this out. This is a really good album, and and us kind of doing a kind of reappraisal of it in the 80s, which is kind of when it kind of fallen away a bit. But so just a little history and sort of backup for it. It was the Stones' 13th British album, 15th American album, released in 1976. It was the first album recorded without Mick Taylor, and he'd quit in December '74. And they kind of used it as we'll see, they used it as a kind of auditions. The songs doubled as auditions for various guitar players like Harvey Mandel and Ronnie Wood, Wayne Perkins, and other people more famous, I think, like Clapton, Rory Gallagher, Jeff Beck, even all sorts of people. That, frankly, from this far back, I cannot imagine Jeff Beck lasting 5 minutes in the Rolling Stones. Can you? As a thing, or
A strong
Eric
personality.
Clapton. Well, it's not all band leaders. It's like, as a
yeah.
band leader, you're not going to play. Sorry, I've had a cold this week, guys, so apologies. Well, or even third fiddle, really. You've got Jagger Richards, the Glimmer Twins, the pivotal composing axis of the Rolling Stones, and then you're there.
Yeah.
I mean, what is Jeff Beck going to do in that? I don't know. I mean, indeed, Rory Gallagher, who hung around for 4 days and said, "I've got a tour of Japan. It's booked. I'm going," and went off to play in Japan.
I think that everything that happened on
That's
Black and
funny.
Blue was meant to happen the way it happened. It was
Yeah.
great.
Mm.
I wouldn't have wanted it any other way. Every guitarist that auditioned did exactly what they needed to do at that time.
Yeah, and they used the best bits of what they had. Other people, Steve Marriott. Can you imagine Steve Marriott being in the Stones? I can't imagine Steve Marriott being in the Stones. From this distance. Again, he's the leader of Humble Pie. He's been the leader of the Small Faces. I cannot see that that's going to work. I don't know what the Stones.
Yeah.
I think they were just casting around the Stones, really, weren't they? As a kind of as a thing. Whilst they were doing it, Tony recorded it in Germany and in Munich quite a lot. We got a load of people into the names we've mentioned coming in to do some bits and pieces. Although I think it's sounding fairly chaotic from the stuff I've read this week. Kind of like there's like, well, I think you're all right. We'll go and talk to Keith. I think there's Wayne Perkins being sent kind of back and forth. Without really.
Well, the other thing to remember too was
trying to wake Keith up.
This was the first time that a couple of Americans tried as guitarists.
Well. Do you know what, Carl? That occurred to me as a thing that the interesting bit for me is that they tried out all these Americans, and one of the things I heard of somebody saying that of course if they'd had an American band, they no longer would have been a British band. There would have been something different about being a British band, which would have been weird. So almost inevitably you have to pick another Brit. And they probably chose the best person, Brit-wise, fit-wise, in Ronnie Wood. Absolutely a better fit. Ronnie Wood used to playing second fiddle to Rod in the Faces. They played a lot together. Him and Keith had played a lot together before. Before this, you consider, clearly, amongst the names I've just read out. It's very interesting. I saw an interview with Keith from just after Mick Taylor had left, saying, "Yeah, we want to get another lead guitar player like Mick Taylor." And then clearly, as it evolved through, what they didn't want was another guitar player like Mick Taylor, because otherwise they would have had Harvey Mandel or Wayne Perkins or someone like that. Really, fine guitar players, but in the Mick Taylor mold, not necessarily in that Ronnie Wood, Keith Richards, you play a bit, and you back and forth, and you intermesh, and do that thing. Clearly, I think
Interweave,
Keith
yeah.
likes that more than he likes just playing second fiddle to Mick Taylor kind of thing. In a sort of playing front, so you're not just a rhythm guitar player. You're actually you're both rhythm guitars and both lead players, and nobody quite knows who's playing what. If it works well, to me, clearly that's what Keith likes, and that's what they had with Brian Jones, and that's what they have with Ronnie Wood. As a thing, and clearly that's for me. Clearly that's what they like, and what they eventually went for. But as I say, can't imagine Rory Gallagher, Jeff Beck could go Peter Frampton. Really, I don't see it myself, but it's. So yes, they used the recording of Black and Blue as an audition sessions, getting people in, wheeling them in for a few days, wheeling them out, inviting people in. You can see that this album shows the band kind of moving on from that straightforward kind of Mexile on Main Street, trying to incorporate influences, reggae, funk, particularly the things that were going on at that time, in the music world. That explosion. I mean, Bob Marley had just done Catch a Fire, I think. Anyway, but he'd just been recording with For Island Records and Chris Blackwell and I think was it, yeah. And so clearly that was blowing up, and the funk thing was huge in that that era, that post Sly and the Family Stone thing, mid-70s, funk and soul and all that kind of thing. You can see the influences seeping into Rolling Stones. They got their fingers on the pulse. They know what's going on. They're going to bring those influences in, and they're going to Stonesify them, if we can use that as a word. So I think as you said, Carl, it was kind of just two more sentences. That it was released to generally mixed reviews. I don't think people thought it was a classic Stones album by a distance. But went platinum in the US, reached number 2 in the UK, so it sold well. Did really well, and but yeah, it's not as regarded as the other Rolling Stones records. But I think badly. So that's my job. So shall we start with the track listings, guys?
Yeah.
Right, unless somebody wants to add anything.
Sounds good.
Okay,
let's rock and roll. Otherwise, someone's going to be Black and Blue.
Yeah. Whoa. I've had a cold this week, so I've a terrible cold. I've yet to avoid the dreaded. Don't you think Omnicron sounds like a band from the 70s, prog rock band from the 70s? 3 more from them after the news.
Give them a couple of Coronas, that'll be right.
Yeah. Yes. So anyway, the first track is on Black and Blue's Hot Stuff, recorded in March, October, and December '75, and heavily influenced, as I've said, by the disco funk sounds of the day. I can hear myself echoing. That's interesting.
That was me. I'm sorry.
It's a rookie error, Bradzik. So we've got guest guitar player on wah wah guitar with Harvey Mandel, formerly of Canned Heat. Harvey Mandel plays the lead guitar parts on the song, and was clearly one of the guitarists in consideration. And, Billy Preston plays piano on the recording and contributes backing vocals. And the video, however, featured Ronnie Wood playing guitar, not Harvey Mandel. So definitely a kind of funk. This is the funk taking over in the Rolling Stones. I had a little look at some funk records around at the time. So we've got Parliament, Mothership Connection, Funkadelic, which is of course Parliament by another name. George Clinton cunningly signing his band 2 different names to 2 different record labels with 2 different record deals, but the same band. Earth, Wind and Fire, of course, are the Idaho Plows, Honey, and the Isley Brothers as well, all big hits at that in '75. So clearly that's coming into the Stones world, and it has that completely different start to a Stones song, doesn't it? It has that kind of rather weedy. I guess it's a telly sound, scratchy, weedy telly sound. It's not like coming in with this, the riff kind of thing, but they get into it. Bass drums, percussion in a very kind of funky groove. It's all about the groove. This song, I think, it's got a really nice lead break from Harvey Mantel. Well, as we said, wah-wah guitar, funky piano, and the kind of half-spoken vocals near the end. But to me, more than anything else, and I think the kind of lyrics are about the sort of music and about getting into the music, laying down. It's what the Stones do, but just a different idiom. Different, they're in much more in a funk idiom than a sort of rock thing, but there's still the Stones laying down a groove, and I think it's yeah, you're right, Stephen. Yeah, it's a great kickoff track. And it has that kind of, it just isn't a classic Stones track, which to me is usually, so in the essential, as I talk a lot about it, setting out your stall early about what this is, this album is going to be, is clearly that's what they're doing here. And it's a 9 out of 10 for me, never a skip. And love it. I love the groove. I love that. They can do groove, the Stones. Whatever they're doing, they can do the groove.
Yeah.
Carl.
Yeah, I totally agree. I actually really, my memory of this particular album was a poster on my uncle's wall. I was mesmerised by it. And like most people, I just, just a quick introduction, I just heard the radio song Full to Cry, but being a bit more mature later on and owning the album, because I actually really got to like it. And Hot Stuff was a great way to kick off an album because, like the guy that, like Simon said before, most Stones albums kick off with, say, Brown Sugar or Rock Soft or something rocky. Here they kick off with something totally out of the box, something really funky, real groovy, and typical of Stones, real catchy. And I love the song. I think that the strong vocals, once again, a strong rhythm section, simple as best, a real tasty little lick that Keith does on the E pattern. And that's all you need, a funky bass line, some good percussion, and the Rolling Stones. And so never a skip, 9 out of 10.
Yeah, I agree with you. Guys. It's unashamedly a disco-directed song, isn't it? But just with enough rock and roll to keep all the Stones and rockers happy, which again is a gift and a credit to the musicality of these giants, that they can incorporate all these different elements that they love doing on their albums. Unusual album opener. And I think that's probably one of the reasons why it may be jilted or tilted to the side. But I like the song. I think it's a great song. It's been a radio song, so it's always been carved into the back of my musical mind since I was a young fellow. I have to give this song a 10 out of 10. I think only because it's unusual, but it's pleasantly unusual. And Brad, the backdoor man, is going to give us his evaluation. But before he does that, he's going to pay the rent. Otherwise, he won't pass this audition, and he'll be he'll be out the back door. Literally. Bro, before you do your rankings, we've got a lot of chatter going on here in the chat, bro.
Yeah, okay. Well,
Say hello
I'll
to them, otherwise they're going to bugger off and leave us.
Yeah, I better acknowledge them. So, we do see you guys chatting in the right-hand side of our screen here. So I wanted to say hello to everyone there, acknowledge you all. Please give us your rankings of the tunes, the songs. That's what we're here for. It'd be great to see what you guys think. You should be doing your homework, guys. You should be listening to these albums the week before, like we do. All right? You got a job to do. All right? Okay. So there's something called, 5150 Show. He's a bit of a rat bag. We've got Christine Taylor, Mark Tanner. We have some dude called Brad Cook. I don't know. He's, I don't think he's passed the audition, so he could be out of here.
But he's
Mark
a dude,
Tanner.
not a rat bag.
Mark Tanner. So we've got John ZD351, our brother. Good to see you, brother. Thank you for the t-shirt purchase this week. I can't thank you enough. That's it's really cool. It looks great on you, man. I've got to say, it looks great.
What a handsome fella.
Huh?
Mate, that t-shirt makes guys handsome, doesn't it?
I think the chicks dig it, man. Chicks dig it. Yeah. So all the guys, you got to go buy one of my t-shirts. And so yeah, keep it clean, guys. I got my mother in the chat, Ellen Voroshin. Thanks for joining us, Mum. We've got who else we got? Another rat bag in the chat, Simon Williams.
I'm not a dude. I'm a rat bag. Thanks.
You haven't passed the audition, all right?
No, not.
I don't know.
Clearly
I've
not.
lost my train of thought now. We've got Stephen Finch. We've got Crappy Luxury. We also have. There's a few more here. Sorry, guys. I'm just scrolling down. Every time someone chats, it throws back up to the top and it throws me off. So my apologies. I've got Helene O'Hara. So thanks for joining us. And Fruitcake Tony, our brother Fruitcake. So
Fruitcake.
Joining us. We've got Philip Byers. We've got, I think I've covered everyone I can see in the chat there, Andrew, unless I've missed anyone. If I've missed anyone, please, I apologize. But keep commenting and give us some little, Stephen Finch. Yeah. So give us some cheeky comments there in the and give us your rankings. And please tell us if we passed the audition.
Yeah. And also, guys, please do us a favor. We want to help Fruitcake Tony and his channel. If you guys haven't subscribed to him, please go over there, find him, Fruitcake Tony, hit a sub. He's doing some awesome content, and his boys, his crew, they're awesome guys. They've got they just did an epic show on Cinderella on the Pick Show tonight. Got some good stuff. Thanks, guys. Brad, sorry for interrupting, brother.
No, that's fine. And I just want to everyone who is watching this, if you're not subscribed already, please do so. Give us thumbs up, guys, and please, as you have been giving us comments, also after the show's finished, give us your comments on the show, what you thought. Thank you.
Yeah, yeah, man. Yeah. Have you, Brad? Have you ranked hot stuff? Did you rank hot stuff?
No, I haven't started. Actually, I got completely sidetracked by the rankings and the t-shirt conversation. How the chicks dig it. And the audition. So I obviously haven't passed the audition.
Sidetracked by the chicks. There we are, you see.
No, not me. Not me.
That's just taking a few of your words, rearranging them into an outrageous slur.
Look, hot stuff. I mean, you wear one of my t-shirts, you're hot stuff. And I was just asking from John, all right? Enough of the shameless plugs. I've always loved this song. That's it. I think personally it's a great opening song. The best part of this track for me and the highlight of this track for me is Charlie Watts. I love the drumming in this song. It's got such an amazing feel. There's an infectious feel on that guitar and bass line together. It's just sort of hooks you in. You can't not enjoy it. There's some great lead playing by Harvey Mandel, as you guys have alluded to. I believe Billy Preston on the piano. Am I correct there, guys?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, Billy Preston.
Yeah. Look, for me, I've jammed along to this song over the years since I bought this album back in the 90s. And, again, like I said, the feel of the band, they're obviously approaching that disco vibe, but it still sounds like the Stones for me. I love the track. I gave it a 10 out of 10. It's never a skip for me.
No.
Simon.
No. One of the things, it's funny you should say it. One of the things that struck me, and I listened to some, the other records that I sort of talked about, the Parliament record and stuff, and I went and listened to it, just some snippets. I didn't go too mad, but there's some snippets of those records. And interestingly, Charlie Watts doesn't quite do a disco drum beat. He doesn't quite do it most of the time, but they have the percussion as well. It's still really funky, but it's interesting that he just keeps his own thing on it, without quite just doing that generic. He does it a couple of times in some bits, but has it as a feature, not quite quite drum the same way that they've
He
drum
gives
all
us a
their songs.
taste.
Yeah, gives a taste, but he doesn't quite drum like that. And he's, whatever it is, he still doesn't quite drum like that. He keeps his own style and his own counsel. Charlie, that's really good, But, it was just an observation, not something bad, by the way. So the second track, "Hand of Fate," is much more of a. So this is a song about a man who commits murder for the love of a woman. So tasty stone subject, getting their teeth on. So so Wayne Perkins plays on this track, and it's back then. Was one thing that's done. The album Black and Blue was promoted with billboards and ads featuring a model in bondage on the Sunset Strip. Might have caused something of a stir these days, but not then. So I think this is very much back to it's a very standard Stones riff, isn't it? Comes in classic Stones riff, and you think, look, we're back on that, back on familiar Stones territory. So clearly, we've had the funky thing, but we're still going to do this as well. We're just broadening our horizons, kind of thing. I think it has that kind of classic Stones thing. It's very melodic. I sing along to it. When you're playing, I think it has a swing and a melody to it. It's great, great. Fiery melodic solo by Wayne Perkins. I think it's been a really good, much more in that Mick Taylor mode style that they've been playing for the last, 5 or 6 years with thing. And this is one of the things that I was talking about. It's just the change in the rhythm where Charlie's been playing 8ths on the hi-hat, and just for a bit he just goes to 16ths on the hi-hat, just a bit, that much more kind of standard disco thing. But he only does it for 20 seconds or so, and then he goes back to a standard 4/4 under the solo, which is great. I just I could do disco, but only for a little bit. And you've got that kind of classic Stones two rhythm guitars playing slightly off one another, which is great as well. I gave this 8.5 out of 10, and never a skip.
Nice.
Yeah.
Carl.
Yeah. No, I think. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, cool. Hey, great. It kind of follows. It's sort of a nice leftover, I think, from It's Only Rock and Roll. It's got that same sort of vibe from the previous album. Straightforward Stones rocker. We're fortunate to have a different guitarist playing the lead, and I got to say, what a beautiful tone from Wayne Perkins. Just a biting tone. Just his phrasing, the way how he crafts that solo. It's great. Mick's vocals once again on fire. He's just his Adam's apples coming out of his throat. I mean, it's just raunchy. Just typical Mick Jagger. So a good Stones rocker. We're so fortunate that we have some different guitar players on this album. It's a real treat, and never a skip. I'm going to give it a 9 out of 10.
Andrew.
Awesome, guys. Awesome. That's fantastic. Really appreciate that. Look, clearly, as Carl said, as Keith said, it's a rocker, straight up cracking rocker from the Stones. But the real credit on this song obviously goes to Wayne Perkins, who's done 3 guitar solos on this song in a 4.5-minute song, which is remarkable in itself. So, one of the great things that the Stones have done over years is played, as my co-host have said, with a lot of other players, but they bottled lightning with Perkins on this album. I have to give this guys a 10 out of 10. I just think it's remarkable, especially when I think of the historical aspect of this album. So I'm marking this emotionally as well, guys, this album, as opposed to purely with my ears. So forgive me. Brad.
Look, I personally love this song. It's such a great guitar riff. There's some really, really lush guitar tones, like that telly sort of vibe. It's that nasal telly thing, and it's just, I love the way that the Stones captured that.
Does anybody
I
know
think
what
Charlie
X he's using?
Is it one of his 5-string tellies? Like I'm not sure which one it is.
Les Paul, possibly.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I think Andrew's doing a bit of some Bible. He's got the Bible out. I think he's having a bit of a look. But yeah. So for me, I love the feel and the drums. Mixed singing. You know, you own the melody in this one. I love the guitar playing, the guitar solos. The overall band's just cooking. The guitar playing is fantastic. It's a 10 out of 10 for me. It's never a skip.
Never a bit tardy on my markings.
Yeah. Because I know Keith used to have interesting things like with his neck pickup was reversed or something. Is that correct, or am I incorrect there, guys?
We're getting into Peter Green territory here. We're reversing the.
I'm not sure if that's correct. Maybe we can.
Was he using his was Keith using his tally with the humbucker at that stage?
Probably.
That's what I thought it was.
75, 70, yeah. Okay. That would be their time, wouldn't it? Yeah. 73.
Yeah.
Okay. Pretty sure he was, but I think Andrew's gonna take us.
He's going to enlighten us in a minute.
No, you guys carry on. I'm just looking through the Beatles gear book, but yeah, certainly. No, he was using McCabe then too. So yeah, he was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the actual Black and Blue album itself has a really thorough description of each track. If you actually got the insert, it shows you who does what at what stage, the drumming, the percussion. It's really quite neat, the insert. So yeah, it's real cool.
Yeah. I've got
so many records I couldn't find it.
Yeah. One of the key things for Stones Nuts is if you see Keith play in the black tally, that would normally be tuned in standard. So he never played that black custom in open G. So that's and he was playing that around that time too. So I don't know. What's the song recorded in? Is it an open G or a standard song? I always thought it was standard.
I don't know, guys. I'm not.
I didn't make a note of it either, but I agree with you. I thought I played along with it a day, and I could play quite comfortably in standard tuning. So that's not to say that Keith was in standard tuning, but just a little note on Wayne Perkins, that he done a lot of work at Muscle Shoals Studio, and he also played on 3 tracks on Catch a Fire, the Bob Marley song, which is very cool. He'd actually played on it. Chris Blackwell,
he was very much an in-demand session guitarist.
Yeah. Had played lead guitars on those sorts of things, which is really interesting given what.
And Harvey Mandel played in Chicago as well.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, he did. Yeah,
with Charlie Musselwhite on that famous South Side of Chicago. Charlie Musselwhite's debut album, just phenomenal guitar playing for a young guy at that particular age in 1966. So they really cherry-picked some of the hottest American guitarists at that stage who were sort of, what's that phrase they used for Rory Gallagher? Who's the guy, the greatest unknown guitarist of all time? Roy Buchanan. So, yeah. So they got some great guitar players on this album. I've got to say, and the Hand of Fate solo is proof of that.
Yeah, and given that kind of southern rock kind of feel, you can see that Mandel would have fitted in there as a thing, But as I said, more of a replacement for Mick Taylor in that mold rather than Ronnie Wood. But anyway, cool. So track 3 is Cherry-O Baby. Now, I probably, like most of you guys, I know this song best because it was covered by UB40, because they had a big hit with it in the UK. I don't know about around the world, but around the UK, it was a big hit here. Kind of, that cool, smooth kind of reggae vibe to it. And I'm very close to the original. This too is pretty close to the original, I think, as a vibe and a feel. It's very kind of very melodic. Again, very melodic. Let's not. I think underestimated the Stones' view of melody. But actually, very melodic. This is the first time that Ron Wood appears on the Stones album, interestingly. So and reggae influence came primarily from Keith and stuff, who was listening to stuff from from the early 70s, watching and of course The Harder They Come, the film, Jimmy Cliff film.
Yes.
And the album was an album that Keith listened to a lot. Yeah, it's as I say, it follows the original. I listened to the original. It follows the original quite. It's the original. The Eric Donaldson's vocals are quite high. Does quite high, quite sweet vocals. Whereas Mick doesn't quite do that. But this is a song like the first song. This is about the groove. It doesn't really move or change very much. It's just about that reggae groove. And they do a fantastic job on it. I think that's really great. And again, it's a contrast to what you just heard. And I think that this album is quite contrasty, if I can use that word. That it's not just one sound that they've carried through the whole album. It does go back and forth between styles. Some of the things that made me smile. Mick's cold West Indian accent. I don't think you probably wouldn't get away with these days, but it does sound quite funny. Or a boy from London, South London, talking like that. But it's fine. I don't have any strong feelings about that. I think it's quite amusing. But I gave this an 8 out of 10 on a good day, and I would never skip it. That's great, I think it's a bit of a light song. It's light, it's kind of, but it's not all heavy. You can't all have heavy. You've got to have light and shade. So 8 out of 10 for me. Never a skip. Really enjoy it. Carl.
So this is a cover version. They didn't write this song.
No, it's a cover version by a bloke called Eric Donaldson.
Okay, yeah, because I just remember So this is their first branch out into a different musical style, which is obviously reggae. This is why. So this particular song is why that everyone thinks of this as the Stones' reggae album. Reggae is hard to play because it's a bit like funk. It's all on the one. So there's a lot of, instead of downstrokes, a lot of upstrokes going. So I really admire Stones for tackling something like this because it's not easy to get that feel, that reggae feel. If you look at Bob Marley and the Wailers play and everything, they're just doing these simple chords, but the groove isn't. You got to lock in, and the Stones do lock in for some little white guys from England. And I got to say, what a great job! What a great reggae song. I admire them for giving it a crack. It's 8 out of 10, and I could listen to it all day. Never a skip.
Andrew.
You're on mute, Andrew.
Apparently, the Stones added this song for a laugh, and I don't know if too many people were left laughing. I don't know. It's not a great decision. I think that they kept the song on the album. As Carl said, it's their first excursion into another musical form after they dipped their toes in the water of luxury. But to put it bluntly, this is hopeless, this song. Watts is all over the place. He has no clue how to accent the offbeats correctly. And the guitars sound feeble. And it's unconvincing to me, guys. It's a skip for me, and it's a 4 out of 10.
Well, not your thing at all. Nope.
I'm not surprised.
Like I said before. Sorry.
I'm not surprised that we are on the same wavelength here with this one, because I think at times we are off each other, but most of the time we're pretty much on the money. I don't think you guys are going to like me after I give my ranking on this in advance.
Personal opinion.
Yeah. Look, I love the Stones, but the Stones playing reggae, I'm not sure I feel comfortable listening to them play it at times. It just seems like they're trying too hard. I've never been a fan of them trying to do reggae. It's just my thing, and not saying that it's I'm right. It's just me. I agree with Andrew with the drums all over the place. It feels a bit sloppy. It doesn't feel like when you listen to reggae is like pretty tight. It's
Yep.
Look,
That's never been said about the Stones before, is it?
well, they're a very sloppy band, but they're in a good way. They swagger and stuff when they do songs like "We'll Get To," "Moving On," that are highlights for me. And guys, I rank my songs based on the songs on the album where it sits. So for me, I gave this a 5 out of 10, and it's normally a skip. Sorry, guys. Do you want me to time out?
No. That's the good thing about this show.
I do have to say that the drumming is quite stiff, but I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt for giving it a crack. It's not. I mean, me personally, I would never play a reggae song as much as I love reggae as a genre. I could listen to it all day long, but I know where you guys come from.
I can't play it. It's difficult. I can't play it. It's difficult.
You got to lock in.
Yes.
Yeah, I can't do it myself.
Isn't there a story about when Harvey Mantel went to play for Bob Marley? He couldn't for a while. He just couldn't work out where to play, where the one was and stuff, and had to have it pointed out to us. Like, no, you listen to it a while, you'll get it. But he did after a while. But it did take him a while to find out. I really enjoyed it as a piece of sort of fairly light sort of pop music in a way kind of thing. So I don't have any objections, and I wouldn't skip it for that. But I completely understand why people would. This is a bit, I've taught this a bit. It's kind of if you're going to play that,
it is a bit watered down. It's watered down.
You've got to know how to get out there and then how to get back, haven't you? Kind of thing. Otherwise, things stick out like a sore thumb in terms of styles or genres or whatever. Yeah, it's. I don't know what I didn't investigate what else was around that could have replaced this. But I'm sure they probably had something else that could have replaced it on here. But I couldn't find anything that particularly reason why they put it on. Even though it's fairly light as opposed to some other stuff. But I can see that. No, it's fine. So the last track on side one is Memory Hotel, a long song for the Stones, 7 minutes, over 7 minutes. And it's a ballad traditionally. Track 4, ballad. So Memory Hotel on Montauk which is in Long Island, New York, is where Andy Warhol's Elysian complex was, where the Stones stayed and practiced for their 75 US tour. They trained up for it there, and clearly Jagger wrote it there. The lyrics refer to various people. Apparently, Carly Simon is a name considered for the Hannah person in this, but supposedly, I think it's a bit of a description. But Keith didn't play guitar on the track, but contributed co-lead vocals alongside Jagger, and so I think Mandel again plays lead guitar on here on this, and. With Jagger, Bridges, and Billy Preston playing acoustic guitar, electric guitar, and string synthesizer. Ladies and gentlemen, the string synthesizer makes an appearance. Preston also contributes backing vocals from Ron Wood, who would eventually become the Stones guitarist. That was recorded in Munich, Germany. So I don't know which came first. I presume it's very much reminiscent of "Fool to Cry." This song. It's kind of there are certain bits you could sing "Fool to Cry" to it. I don't know whether it's which came first, but which is the development of one or the other. But that kind of starting with a solo piano and then coming in with with electric piano, bass, and drums, with the acoustic guitar, very kind of "Fool to Cry"-ish kind of vibe to it. I particularly picked out the melodic bass line as well. Bill Wyman plays some excellent bass guitar on this. Really liked it. It's really cool. And some kind of emotive vocals from Jagger as well. Seemed to get into it really well. I gave this a 9 out of 10, and I never would skip it. So yeah, it was really good. Yeah.
Yeah, I personally love the song. Have you finished, Simon?
I am.
Yeah.
Oh, cool. I personally love the song. I think it showcases just the genius of Mick Jagger and his songwriting skills. I love the way that it starts out on piano, very Lennon and McCartney. Very just showcases they get away from that 3-chord structure, and there's some minor, sharp minor, major 7 chords going on that piano. And you are right. I think it's in the same key as "Fool to Cry." But a long song, but a great story. I would describe the song as a deep cut, like "Time Waits for No One," one of my favorite Rolling Stones songs that no one's heard of. And I can tell you many a time driving on Interstate 35, singing "Off to Texas with the Rose of San Antone." One of my favorite lines in that whole song. So it's actually one of my favorite Rolling Stones songs of all time. It's just,
cool.
Some friends of mine, just some great lyrics. I'm going to give it 11 out of 10 and never a skip.
Hey, Brad score.
Yeah.
There you go.
We're on the same page. I've got here. It's an excellent song. It's 7 minutes. It's long for a Stones song, isn't it? You got Harvey Mandel playing some beautiful, tasty lead guitar work with Wayne Perkins playing the acoustic. And as Carl, and then as Carl said, you've got the Glimmer Twins just on vocals and piano. So they're just doing that really, really well. The Rock Professor mentioned contrasts earlier on a couple of songs. This is the first real contrast for me for the first 2 songs. I love the song. There's a couple of comments in the chat by Stephen saying, there's some similarity between this song and Memory. What's the other hotel song?
Fool to Cry. Oh, no.
Okay, I've got all these. Okay, you guys know what I mean.
Fingerprint File?
Yeah, something like that. And I read also in my research that Hannah could have been Annie Leibovitz too, because she was hanging out with them, with the band around that time too. But apparently Keith and Mick, Mick especially, said it's about no one in particular,
No.
Yeah. So we'll take.
Of course,
Keith
trouble, do you?
Yeah. We'll take Keith at his word. Look, I have to agree with Carl. It's certainly one of my favourite Stones songs. I'm not going to Brad score it. I'm going to give it a 10 out of 10, and it's never a skip, and it makes up for the dreadful song that preceded it. Brad.
I think you've been reading my notes, Andrew, and one of the things that I dislike about going last is that I feel like I'm repeating people, but so I think the Stones redeemed himself in this song for me from the last one. Obviously, the track listing, this is perfectly situated on the album as well. Some really sweet piano and organ playing. Jagger sings and with that sort of accent and a character and conviction, and very convincingly. Very nice melody. The Stones do this kind of slow, mellow song well, and I really enjoyed the subtle guitar playing. Charlie's just sitting back there with class. He shines on these sort of songs. He's like the perfect drummer for a song of this caliber. And the middle section of the song, Keith singing, that's really cool. Obviously, no Keith on guitar. That obviously for me, I love hearing Keith play. So that for me kind of takes a tiny bit away from it for me. I gave it a 9 out of 10, but never a skip for me, guys.
Awesome, brother.
Well, that concludes side 1. So, and interesting note, only 4 songs on each side.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Old school.
In my world, Carl, never a bad thing. Just because you got 70 minutes doesn't mean you have to fill up 70 minutes, 18, 15, 18, 20 minutes aside, perfectly fine in any real sense of it as a thing. So, so good. So, yes, we definitely redeem themselves at the end of side 1 as a song. Great stuff. So, smooth landing on side 2, we have Hey Negrita. which is the riff is actually wrote the main riff. Ron Wood apparently wrote the main riff for this, and he took it to the auditions, and clearly it's something stuck about it, so they built a song around it. Although it isn't, I don't think necessarily. I don't think just saying inspiration by Ron Wood, is that a credit or not? I'm not sure. Whether that counts as a writing credit, but you get money for it. I don't know. We'll ask Ron one day. So basically, Ronnie Wood said that all of us independently and together were into reggae. It was also the mood of the time. I had this particular lick that I took into the studio, and the other said, "What are we going to start with?" And I said, "I've got this song." Charlie was sitting behind his kit, so he was already into it. And then Keith and Mick both got into the motion of it. And that was Hey Negrita, which came together very easily. The key to getting this song across in this band is never try and write all the words. If you've got the rhythm, you're lucky. Let Mick write the words, and then you're in with a chance. So a review said at the time that it straddles Latin, reggae, and funk musical styles. And clearly, Jagger spent a lot of time in New York, hanging around, the discos and stuff, and so it's of the song substance. Jagger said, I hate telling about it. If I tell you what the song is about, will you put it in your own words? Okay, it's about a South American whore and a singer. A poor man is trying to get her price down. One last dollar. I've got my pride. I'll cut your balls and I'll tan your hide. It's a typical Jagger lyrics. Tongue very firmly in cheek, one feels there. It's, I think that it's funny, but I think it's really great. It sounds like a bit of a jam to me. They come together as a jamming sort of song. As you say, it's got that kind of Stones rocker at its core. That still got that kind of mid-tempo swanger to it, but they've put that Latin funk sort of wrap around the outside of it with some extra percussion and things, and some jazzy piano playing from Billy Preston, who, and this is the second week we've done an album where Preston's made quite a mark on it, and I think this album for sure, he makes, quite an impression, doesn't he, with what he does in many ways, as much as the guitar playing and the guitar players, I think. So it's hats off to him. I gave this a 8.5 out of 10, but never a skip. I think it's a strong opener for side 2.
Nice.
Yeah, I think this particular riff that Ron came up with not only suits the album, and it's obviously their second go on the album as far as a reggae-inspired song, but I think this basically solidified him in the band as the man, as the guy, because the interweaving, obviously, I'm assuming he's with Keith playing, it just feels like the Stones are now getting to their new direction. The tone on Ron Wood's guitar is just real. It's raw, it's crunchy. The Mick Jagger's vocals, his singing is just, once again, strong, raw, just pure Stones at its best. And I take my hat off to them for trying different styles. It's not easy to play reggae or Latin or funk, especially, but one thing we can appreciate about Mick and Keith is they're two different personalities. Mick was a talent scout. He would go out to the clubs. He was an extrovert, where Keith was the introvert who'd stay in their hotel room and just figure out riffs. So they could just bounce off each other. Mick was in New York doing what he was doing. His personality, obviously Miss You came from his, time at Studio 54. But getting back to the song, Ron Wood, great job. True to Jagger Richards' ego. No inspiration by Ron, but no credits given. 9 out of 10. Great opener for side 2.
Yeah. I got to echo again what you guys have said. It's Ronnie's song. I got to agree with what Cal was also emphasised. It solidified Ronnie and the band. It gave them the Glimmer Twins certainly an indication of maybe where they could go as far as some different musical directions with confidence with Ronnie. I think some light bulbs went off there. And as the rock professor said, you know, negarita is a term for a young black girl. And, you know, the lyrics aren't really what's important in this song. It's certainly tame lyrics compared to Brown Sugar and a few other Stone songs, isn't it? So, you know, there'll be no banning this song maybe off future song lists, maybe, hopefully. That's my little political plug for the show. Look, I love the song, guys. I love the fact that it does for me what that reggae song that I said was a 5 out of 10. I even forget the name of it.
Cheerio, baby.
This makes up for what I think they wanted to do with that. So I'm going to give this a 9.5. Not quite a 10, but a solid. And again, it's a different side opener for the Stones. Great song. Some good live versions of it too, you know. So, yeah, love it.
For me, and the guitar, I love the guitars in this song. They just they swagger along. I'm glad that they, you know, credited Ron Wood as inspiration on this one and gave him some credit because his playing on it's fantastic and it's obviously his riff. So, you know, that's you know, they should, in my opinion, have given him some credit, really. Some fantastic drumming. The bass is really locked in. Catchy melody, although it's slightly repetitive. I dig the slide playing as well. And the piano, it's a really great touch. I gave this a 9 out of 10. It's never a skip for me.
Awesome, brother. Hey, Helen, nice to see you. You're late. You're cool. It's okay.
It's cool to be late, apparently. I see people in the chat are getting into scoring things, which is cool. That's good.
At Brad's insistence too, you know, he was cracking the
Brad.
whip there a few times.
Ooh.
Well, so you want to start doing that homework, Andrew?
Who's grabbing a beer out of the chili bin?
Oh, see, you've forgotten all about Carl when he, you know, gets,
that's right.
you know,
Hey.
Carl in the kitchen knocking up
Carl.
a few snacks.
I reckon Carl's passed the audition.
Yeah. He'd come back for a guest appearance.
No, he's passed the audition.
Yeah. What is it? Yeah, I want to know how come, you know, Carl's been on this show a few times and no one's snapped him up.
I should
what is
actually
it about
check
Carl?
on my chicken in the oven too while I'm at it.
Hey, what is it about Carl? Why hasn't anyone snapped Carl up? He's handsome, he's intellectual, he's intelligent, he's a guitar player. Gosh.
There we are. All the things that might stop you snapping him up.
We've always,
You talk about the females.
we're always no. That's okay. It's all right. It's just a little. I'll tell you off here. It's okay, bro. Just laugh, smile, look good, look handsome.
So anyway,
international man of mystery, Austin Powers.
Yeah. Yes.
I'm just going to check on my chicken.
Next one. Go on.
Yeah. Okay. Oh.
Do you remember this, Andrew? Do you remember this? The old days, remember?
Pork,
Carl
knocking
beef. Up a few
roast
sandwiches
beef
for himself as it is stuff.
Well, it is dinner time here.
Cooking with Carl. Fantastic. Look at that. Thank you for your cooking interlude, Carl. So how is it? How is the chicken?
Me?
Yeah. How is the chicken?
Oh, yeah. Or the cat going across the screen.
Yeah. Oh, dear.
Actually,
Anyway,
after an hour, I realised I hadn't turned the oven on, so it's only just getting started.
Oh,
It'll be all right. Tenderloins.
and turn the oven on. It's a technical thing, Carl. It only cooks with the ovens on. Say that about a lot of things. Anyway, track 6 is Melody, which is, again, I love this kind of inspiration by Billy Preston kind of thing. Which, as I say, I don't know if that's quite giving you a writing credit for it. You came up with the idea, but not sure we're going to give you a writing credit for it. Interesting, I couldn't really find any information about this song at all. So it's this is all about the ears and not about anything else. I can see why it's inspired by Billy Preston. It's got that piano and organ feel at the beginning, slow, kind of melodic at the beginning. And Billy Preston contributes co-lead vocals on it. So I can see that he's clearly had a heavy hand in the shaping of this song. I particularly like the horns. They have horns at about 4 minutes, and there's a kind of breakdown where Jagger does a kind of scat singing about 4 minutes 20. I like the back and forth of the vocals, and it's got a great feel to it. I gave it an 8.5 out of 10, and I would never skip it. Good song. Carl, what to say?
Yeah, I think it's actually quite a nice little nugget on the album as far as something once again a bit different. So with this particular album, we've obviously touched on a bit of reggae, obviously some Latin-inspired funk, some typical Rolling Stones rock. This has got a bit of a jazz swing feel to it. Charlie's laid back on the drums. The bass line is swinging. Mixed vocals, once again, are right on cue. And this is just a credit at that particular stage of obviously Billy Preston, Ollie Brown, just the influences that are around them. Because going back to Goat's Head Soup, they were obviously staying in Jamaica. They spent a lot of time in New York. There's a big Jamaican Latin funk scene there. So I think this song basically plays tribute to not only the Stones and branching out and giving something a crack again, but just the people they were surrounding themselves with, and them absorbing different styles of music. So I really enjoy the song. I think it's one of the best recorded songs on the whole album. On a good stereo, it sounds amazing. I really like it. I like it. Obviously, they don't play it live, but it's once again, a deep cut, a hidden gem. I could listen to it all day long. 9 out of 10.
Yeah, I agree with you, Carl. I agree with you. It's a deep cut. It's a song that I never liked for a long, long time, but certainly a song that grew on me as my appreciation of musical styles developed. So I'm glad that you guys mentioned the jazz theme, because clearly that's what it is. There's that jazz theme there. In my research, apparently Ronnie said that Billy Preston took umbrage to the fact that the Stones didn't recognize him as a full songwriter, because according to him, he actually worked the song out with Jagger. So yeah, a little bit sad that the Stones there fell into type. But yeah, maybe when they re-release this album, they might sort that out, which would be nice. And maybe the other song that Ronnie should maybe get some credit on. But having said that, let's get back into the song. So look, I can imagine this piece being being like some back set or movie theme for some kind of black and white, film noir kind of thing. I love it. Love the song. I think it's great. The fact that Carl mentioned there's this musical element on this album that the Stones are trying to direct listeners to with a bit of confidence is one of the interesting things about the Rolling Stones. They want to push their listeners as they're developing, as they're maturing as songwriters. And Brad mentioned that last week, as he matures as a songwriter, you want to go out and push maybe something a little bit out of the comfort zone. So if that includes even your listeners, well, that's probably what they want to do too. So I give them credit for that. I love the song. I'm going to give it a 9 out of 10. And go and listen to it with some headphones. It's definitely a remarkable track on the album.
Wow. All right. Well, for me, it's a catchy song. There's some really nice piano playing it. I love the understated guitar playing. Fits perfectly. Mixed singing with swagger, and you guys have touched on the Billy Preston element. It's inspired by him. Obviously, that as Andrew said, hopefully that gets readdressed in a re-release or something like that. But for me, I had to give this song an 8 out of 10, guys. Of just with the rankings, the rest of the songs, and the way things have gone. So 8 out of 10 for me. Never a skip.
Cool, brother.
Yeah. So we come to the, I think, clearly the most well-known song on this album by the single. It's a worldwide hit, "Fool to Cry." One of the great Stones ballads. I think there's no doubt. I think they still do it these days. It's one of their slow ones. And if you've got this far, you're doing all right, aren't you? As a song, I think it's got Wayne Perkins on guitar on it. But, Jagger plays electric piano, and Nicky Hopkins plays a string synthesizer on it. It's funny, isn't it? I like this. In many ways, I like the string synthesizer better than I like real strings, which is weird. Somehow they give it a slightly different feel than not quite so schmaltzy as real strings, as we discussed last week. The schmaltz of real strings. But for me,
Schmaltz liquor.
Like a schmaltz liquor. Yes, schmaltz liquor. Yes. I love everything about this song. I think it's a great soul ballad, great electric piano, cool melodic guitar, bit of wah-wah in there for that sort of funky feel. The strings coming in the chorus give the chorus a real lift, the instrumental lift. It works perfectly. And it has that hi-hat 16th beats as well in parts of it. It's a 20 out of 10. It's a Brad score for me. This is this is a great Stone song. This is definitely in the A list of Stone songs, right up there with anything they've ever done. And 20 out of 10, never a skip. Classic. Carl.
I remember being just mesmerised as a kid. I think we had, in the good old days when I was probably 12, 13, I think we had the top 40 countdown, and they had like flashbacks to certain songs from a certain year. And I remember it coming on, and obviously I think they released a video to it. But it's bordering on the tempo is as slow as you want to get, but if it got any slower, it'd be off. And there's a funny story attached to the song, because they tried to play it live on stage once, and it probably didn't help with Keith's penchant for the poppy, but he actually fell asleep on stage to the song. So, because that's how slow the tempo is. But as far as true story. But as far as the song's concerned, as far as Mick Jagger, once again, a singer, a songwriter, he pulls it off masterfully. It's a great ballad. I could listen to it all day long. I wouldn't call it the highlight of the album. I think there's a lot of songs that all intermingle with this particular album. But as from a commercial aspect, obviously, it was the high point. The way that the song builds up, I'm going to use a Brad word, the beautiful understated guitar that comes in towards the end, which basically complements Jagger's vocals. It's a masterpiece. I like it. I'm going to give it a 10.
All right. Well, for me, I've always thought this is a beautiful little song. Beautiful little intro. Jagger's playing the organ part great. Have I missed something, guys?
Yeah. It's supposed to be Andrew before you. You've just barged him out of the
No, Andrew.
Is that your way of
Andrew fell asleep like Keith did on the stage.
I'm out. Am I out? Am I out now?
Don't put him last again. Look at that.
Do I have to go and jump on another show now? You
Yeah.
guys going to take this show?
Go on, back off.
Don't put him last again. Look at the trouble.
Do I have to go and find
Oh.
another home?
Chomping at the bits.
Oh. Oh. Look, I realized that I
Purgatory.
wasn't here because I'm eye candy. I realized that. I thought maybe I was here because I had some like valuable insight. and that even proves to be useless.
Dear.
Oh my lord.
Oh dear, that's funny.
I know a frame up when I see one. Okay. Look, I love the song, Simon. I have to agree with you. I don't mind the fact that classic radio has stolen songs and made millions on playing classic rock songs. That's just the way that it is. Rock and roll is business. Rock and roll is moving units. Rock and roll's about buying jet planes and lots of guitars and enjoying the fruits of it. So I love the song. It's etched on my mind. I think it's fantastic. The words always had an impact on me. I used this word last week to describe a song when we were talking about it, but I always feel the melancholy of the song. It's just wonderful. It just had that ability to make me feel sad for this girl who lived on the other side of town, who loved Daddy, this guy Daddy, loved it. The Stones, and we've done a lot of Stones albums, guys, on this channel. And it's a remarkable trait that Mick Jagger has. He's an understated songwriter, in my opinion. He's understated. And they'll be talking about him and Keith Richards, like the Beatles, for a long, long time, long after we're gone. I have to Brad score this. I've got to Brad score it. It's my top 5 Stones songs. It's 50 out of 10. Do I still get the gig? Can I stay? Am I allowed to stay?
You passed the audition.
Please?
You passed the audition. You can go.
Please?
Yeah. Okay. You could be Dusty Hill. Okay. It's a
Okay.
Oh God. All right. So I've already given you half my one. I'll go back.
Go back.
It's a beautiful song. Jagger plays the electric organ. It's beautiful. Mick singing like a little story, does it so well. Great dynamics on the drums and bass. I especially love the outro of the song, and Perkins is playing some classy lead parts over the top, and it's a really, really great song. I gave it 10 out of 10 and never a skip. And I'm sorry, Andrew, you did pass the audition, all right?
Oh dear.
You can go anytime you like. Boss man.
That was great. There's always something that triggers us off, isn't there? Always something.
We're going to try and put back on the off the bit. We've got to get back on the bitumen off the dirt,
Oh dear. So anyway, the last track on the album, yes, not all the better for not being too long, could I say, is Crazy Mama. Jagger said we wrote that in the studio too, all of it, my words and everything just came to me. I think there's Billy singing it high up there. He's the stand-in girl on this song. Keith, Billy, and Ron. Yeah. At the end, it does sound like girls, but it isn't. So this is much more back to a sort of Stone style swaggering riff in 4/4. Great soaring lead guitar from Ron Wood, who I think really shines on this track. I think it's Ron. And again, it's that thing about it's all about the groove with the Stones, isn't it? You get in the groove, and I think it was Harvey Mandel or Wayne Perkins, one or two, said that said that, they hanging around, when he went to the studio to audition, there was this kind of faffing about and messing about. And he said that suddenly the red light goes on. And he said it's like somebody's turned on the lights, it's going, suddenly Charlie's on it, and then Keith's surging in, and it just coalesced like this, and it's from out of nothing and nowhere, this kind of morass of rubbish and nonsense, and it going really badly, seemingly, turn the red light on, and boom, the camera is focused, and it all comes together. He said he was amazed by it as a as a process, really. The difference between the two things. It's blimey. Keith Campbell, how you doing? So it's a 9 out of 10 for me. Never a skip. Great Stone song. Again, one of the deeper cuts on the album, I think. And but great song, and I would never skip it. Carl.
Yeah, I think it's Stones getting back to their typical Stones sound. It's very reminiscent, of It's Only Rock and Roll, and there's some flavours of Exile on Main Street there. I'm assuming Keith's in an open tune. It's that typical Stones formula. It's a straightforward rocker. The Stones are on fire. I personally think the song's probably one of the weakest songs of the whole album. But typical Stones fashion, it's a great song to play in the car. It's basically all around great rocker. I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10. Never a skip.
Andrew.
Well, that's interesting. That's an interesting score. From the research I've done, Keith takes care of all the guitars. Well, certainly the rhythm guitars. You've got he's also playing the slide, as well as the bass, as I understand. No Wyman on bass. I think it's an excellent way. It's an excellent song to end a transitional, but it's an interesting album, isn't it? It's far from being the Stones' best album, but it's not their worst. So, and the critics, as the rock professor said in his introduction, were mixed in their summation of this album when it was released. But shit, we don't give them any credit here, do we? The critics, we don't give a damn what they say, because most of them are hacks, really, from our perspective. The perpetrators of lies. Look, I love the song. I think it's an interesting song. It's certainly not the weakest. A good indication of where the Stones are going to go. I have to give it an 8 out of 10, but it's never a skip. It's never a skip. And I have to tell you, when I was listening to the album over the week, I love the album. I think in the context of Stones albums, it does the job, because the Rolling Stones are all about producing albums, Beggars Banquet, and it just happens to be that they did 5 great rock and roll albums in a row. So they've got the track, the benchmark there to prove that, haven't they, guys? But I think this is a great album. It's a solid album, and it's a good ender.
Yeah.
Brad.
Yeah.
Well, for me, I love this song. I love the swaggering guitars. For me, it's like the Stones that I like to listen to. Not that I dislike any of the other tracks, but I like this energy that the Stones, I love the way the Stones do the mellow songs, and I like this sort of thing where the guitars are, swaggering along, and they got that real loose feel to Charlie Watts' drumming. Obviously, Keith playing the bass. There's some really cool BVs, like that sort of the band just chanting things out. Crazy mom. I like that. So it's like I call it the gang type BVs, where they just singing it. They're not trying to be perfect. It's like getting it out, filling that little spot. Yeah. So it's very cool. I enjoyed that. I enjoyed listening to this song after so long. It's been a while since I listened to this album. And personally, I just wish all the songs on this album had a bit more swagger in it. I have to give this a 10 out of 10 and never a skip for me.
Yeah, I'm surprised, Brad, that given it a 10 out of 10. I thought maybe you'd give it an 8. But, it's got everything that we like as bluesmen, talking about a woman. Look at the title, Crazy Mama, superstition, sacrifices, shotguns and ball and chains and all that kind of stuff. It's, the lyrics are fantastic. I love it.
Yeah. I mean, look, I still enjoy all the other songs, and I've just ranked them how I enjoyed it. Listening to the album back, I just enjoyed listening to it. This song, every time this song would come on, I'd just turn it up and have a good crank in the car listening to it. It was just was awesome.
No, I think you're right, Andrew. It does. It is one of those Stones albums that is this kind of overlooked, overshadowed by what came previous. And I think that that every band has its kind of 5-year purple patch, and this is kind of the one after the purple patch, but that doesn't make it not a really good album. As an album, and it's got some really good songs, and it's great playing and great great vibe to it and stuff. Oh, one thing I've got to mention is that my theory about the weakest track is the third track on side 2. Clearly not the case on this record. Fool to Cry, not really. So fail on that. I'll go back to
there goes your theory, rock professor.
Yeah.
There goes.
Hey, just because it's a theory doesn't mean I could move it to track 3, side 1. See, I think they've programmed it wrong actually, and and actually side 2 should have been side 1. Anyway, no. Yeah, bang goes my theory. But as I say, I had a sort of, my friend Gerard, who I talk about a bit on here. We had a sort of, he sort of forced me to reappraise this album in the mid '80s kind of thing, because it, because it actually has lots to recommend it as an album, lots of good vibe and different things from the Stones, not just the riffing Stones, and I think that's a plus, not a minus. Bands you can't just, as I said, you can't just keep making Exile on Main Street, can you? Over and over and over. I don't think the Stones could do that, but I don't think there's a chance. So you've got to move ahead, and that moving ahead, and sometimes produces variable results, and I think that but for me, really good Stones album. I really enjoy it whenever I listen to it, and and I like the variety, the difference.
And I'm sorry, guys, I didn't get any photos up to flick through, but I love the album. The gatefold, as I think Carl mentioned it, it's pretty cool. You got Mick and Keith on the cover, and then it opens up to the other band members on the back. It's awesome. It's an awesome album cover.
Yeah, I love the album cover too. Actually, very cool.
Yeah. That's much to recommend it, doesn't it? As an album and stuff. And I listened to, I can't remember his name, but
so I just want to ask you guys something. So this is Ronnie's first dabble into the Stones. Okay, so and we've also mentioned the fact that he wasn't a full-time contributor, and so from this album. They do Some Girls, which Ronnie is heavily involved in. So maybe the Rolling Stones were kind of, mindful of the fact that they just wanted to nurture and look after Ronnie. Maybe. I don't know. That's a theory. That's a theory that I like to hold. Any credibility to that theory?
I don't know. I don't. You know what? I think that clearly Ronnie he's the best choice for the Rolling Stones. Of all the guitar players we mentioned, he's way head and shoulders above the others in terms of being able to fit in with the Rolling Stones. He's the best fit with Keith, personality wise and stuff. Yeah. He kind of knows his place as a sideman, not as a lead, not as a leader of the band, because he's done that with Rod and Stewart and the Faces. I think that all those things are the.
And back
what
then,
are you doing? What are you doing? Carl, what are you doing?
Back then, he had to be an Englishman for because
Yeah,
being an English
good
band
point.
during that time, that was important. That was the point of difference, I think, for the Rolling Stones, and one of the reasons why they did so well in the States, Simon, Brad, and Carl, because they had that distance.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's very true. So I think that in terms of going through all those guitarists and stuff, and as I said earlier, some of them are you just as I can't see Jeff Beck of the Rolling Stones. You might think it's fun, but it'd be like would last 3 gigs, wouldn't it? And then he would be gone. Typical Jeff kind of. So I think that 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 the right they went through a process, and the right person came to the top of it. And and has been in it for 46 years. So hats off to Mr. Ron Wood for that. I think that that.
Hey, Janice.
Hey, Janice. That absolutely. That that the right person was chosen and came to the top, and they did the right thing. And I think it's about the fact that he's another Londoner for starters. He fitted in with him and Keith. 2 peas in a pod kind of thing, and I think that's such a key issue. I don't think any of those other guitar players would have got on with Keith like he gets on with Keith. That kind of brother 2 peas in a pod thing, I think is that's the vital thing. And he's not going to outshine Mick or anything like that. Try and elbow him out the way or anything like that. I think it's it's become and as you say. Gets his feet under the desk and makes a really cool impression on some girls, which is the thing. Can I just make a shout out? I don't know if any of the other guys. There's a fantastic 3-part documentary on YouTube by a guy called Flipside CT called "The Making of the Rolling Stones, Let It Bleed." It's like 3. It's about 5 hours but. He just pulls together all about the tour and everything. There's just masses and masses of stories about that 75 tour of America. There's just stories all over the place, of them driving around, being arrested, and kind of and all sorts of stuff that are well worth having a look. So I shout out to Flipside C2 who did that stuff, because it's an amazing achievement. Proper serious documentary. So hats off to him for putting that together.
So check it out.
Quite a lot. Yeah, worth checking out. If you've got, I mean, part 3 alone is 1 hour 29 minutes. So so they are long, but they're really interesting, and he does a really good job of of pulling all that whole kind of.
That was on YouTube, was it? Did you say?
Yeah, it's on YouTube. It's called Flipside CT, and it's just called "The Making of the Rolling Stones, Let It Bleed" documentary. Yeah, so worth checking out.
Check it out.
Yeah. Oh, Carl, you're very quiet.
Oh, can I summarise the album? Can you hear me?
Yeah, not really. We can't hear you really. He's having my trouble. I don't know. So, Brad, what do you think? What's your final summing up whilst we wait for Carl to sort out his?
It's like a transitional album for me with the Stones. I love the contributions of all the people that were on the album, but I think I'm going to touch on your statement there where Ron Wood was like the perfect fit. I think not even just from a guitarist perspective, I think personality, possibly his ability to just be, what do you call it? Player. Just to slot straight in and take the spot of a player and be an all-rounder and do what the song requires. That's all you can ever ask for a new person to come in and just really compliment the band while they're playing. I think that's what Ron did on this, and that's why he ended up being part of the band. But the contributions by all the guitar players were fantastic on this record, and it is a great record. I got it, one of the first Stones records I ever bought was Black and Blue, and I used to sit around just jamming to it on guitar, not even trying to play the right thing, just playing the right key and just improvise over the top. So yeah, it's a great record. Andrew.
There, I've put the link in the chat to part 3. You can find the other parts, so you can go back, Brad, and find it.
Just waiting for Carl to come back in.
Just get need to get the headphones with the wires.
Yeah.
or shouted it like Brad does.
Yeah, I think I've just gone away from everything but just the laptop. It works perfectly for me. I've just found that it works the best. So. Yeah. Or you can get onto the setup that Andrew's got. He's got like the duck's guts there. You know, the boss man. He's in charge, so he knows what he's got. He knows what he's doing. So, anyway,
A couple of years ago when Carl and I used to do this, it was a nightmare. So you get in a mic and earphones, crucial. Carl. Carl.
He's putting his headphones in. There we are. Can you hear us better now?
Yeah. Can you hear me now?
Yes, better.
Awesome. Fantastic.
Perfect.
Okay, so those wireless things lasted an hour and a half. Sorry about that.
That's okay.
What did the battery
Can you
run
hear me
out?
now?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I guess so. Yeah.
Thank you, Stephen.
That's right. Can I do a bit of a summary of the album?
Oh,
Yeah.
well, that's what
Yes,
nice.
we're waiting for you.
No. Just to get back, when I was growing up as a kid, I was mesmerised by the poster, and I never forgot the poster. It was such a cool looking picture of the guys, and like everybody else, I had the First Stones album, I had Rolled Gold, a compilation, and I just used to listen to Full to Cry on the radio and thought, what a great song. Never really just sort of never bought the album and played it song by song until in my late 20s. But I think it's one of the treasured cuts of the 70s for the Stones. Really, obviously they gave reggae a try, and it's obviously an audition album. But there's some really neat songs on there. I guess a pivotal moment in Ron's career was when he did that Hey Negrita, and Keith smiled and said, "Well, I think we found the guy." So, So one thing I used to know, but I don't know, which I'd like your help. That album was recorded late 74 to 75. They did the American tour, which is a huge tour with Ron Wood, and then the album was released. Is that correct?
Hold on. So it was dropped. The album was dropped April 76. So yeah,
yes.
After the 75 tour.
After you enjoyed it, yeah.
So that was strategic what they did. So they started the original sessions late 74. It dragged on in 3 different studios from memory. And then obviously they hired Ron for the tour, but he wasn't an official member. So he became an official member after the tour when the album was dropped. So, yeah, interesting fact. So we're talking the space of almost a year and a half. It was quite long-winded. The actual recording of the album and the actual tour.
So they were in Munich as a 4-piece, and then went to Rotterdam in 75, and then they had the American tour. And guitarist Harvey and Wayne Perkins played with the band at different times, and both being tipped, as you guys said, to permanent replacements. But Ronnie Wood, I'm just hold on. Okay, so I think Carl is answering a crucial question there, one that I haven't thought about. What got Ronnie Wood into the Rolling Stones? It was Hey Negrita.
And 75 tour, he was on a salary. He wasn't actually he was on a salary right up to about the early 90s. But he wasn't actually a fully fledged member.
Ah.
No, he wasn't a partner, was he, for ages?
Yeah. But Hey Negrita was where Keith said, hey, listen, guys, I mean, no offense to Americans, and thank you, Wayne. Thank you, Who was the other guy? Harvey. But it's just something in our blood. It's very English what we're doing. And to echo Simon's point about, Rory Gallagher's, your strong personalities like your Jeff Becks, your Eric Claptons, your Roy Buchanans, who are formidable in their own right. Ron's always played not second fiddle, but always been seen as Keith's little brother. So it was just a natural marriage, if you like, of guitar players.
Yeah, I want to back.
And let's face it, the Faces were influenced by the Stones.
That's true. That's very true. Yeah.
Stay with
absolutely. God, Andrew, you were going to say something.
Oh, sorry, guys, I'm done.
I was just going to say, I watched bits and pieces of the Keith Richards documentary over the last week or so, and there was an interesting part in there where they were talking about Clapton, and Clapton was saying something like he didn't know what it was like to be in a band because he was always leaving bands, so he had no idea what it was like to actually behave in a band. And I think the inference there was that Ronnie did. Ronnie knew how to be in a band as well. He had the ability to give those strong personalities, the Glimmer Twins especially, room and space in the studio or whatever they were doing. I think these are the untold things that we don't know. But as Stones fans, we love to sort of think about what happened, because when you're working with a band, personalities are important. It's probably more important than just turning up for the 8 to 5 job, isn't it? Because there's something creative going on in a band situation. 8 to 5 jobs all about making money. But yeah.
Well, and clearly by then it's already become a business for Jagger, hasn't it? You can tell. Was it one of the documentary things? The documentary I was talking about earlier. In one of them, they talk about one of the gigs and that they had. Who did they have? They had an old blues guy open for them. They got $250,000. He got $1,000, kind of thing. I can't remember who it was. Furry Lewis, may have been Furry Lewis or something like that. But clearly, that it had become a business by then already. Prince Rupert of Lowenstein has taken over their their business things, and Jagger's getting more into it. But yeah, interesting. Here we are. So Ron Wood was made a fully fledged partner in Rolling Stones in 1990. Only 15 years after he joined.
He finally got to pay off his car.
Yeah, what you talk about? Never mind. Past the audition. Yeah, has anybody else had a 15-year audition for something? Oh, brilliant!
I kind of feel like the Ron Wood of this show.
Well, I'm glad you mentioned that, Brad, because one of the things I was going to ask you guys is that seeing that this channel started off as a Rolling Stones channel, basically that's what we were doing. We're just hanging out weekly talking about the Rolling Stones and their contribution, etc., to music. So I've got a question for you guys. Is this album in your top 3, top 5 of Stones albums? And I'm going to start with Brad, and we're going to go down to the Rock Professor, and then we're going to flick across to Carl. Be honest.
Don't think it's in my top. It's definitely not my top 3, and probably just doesn't quite make my top 5. Really.
No, I'd agree with that. It's not in my top 5 Stones albums, but it's in my top 10 Stones albums for sure.
100%.
Yeah, for sure.
Cal, are you frozen, brother?
No,
Cal,
he's gone to sleep.
Cal.
Can you hear us, Carl? Okay. I don't.
If we eliminate live albums and double ups with English American,
I feel like he's taken a heavy mogadon, don't you? Slow down considerably.
Probably just sneaks into the top 10. Just sneaks. Sorry, guys. Can you hear me now?
Okay, yeah. So give us your synopsis, please. Are you there, brother?
Okay.
Okay, while Carl's jumping in and jumping out, look, it's nowhere near in my top 3. It's not in my top 5, and it certainly isn't in my top 10. I think there's far too many other albums in the Rolling Stones canon that deserve a space in there. But I'll be interested to hear what Carl's got to say, because he sneaks it into his top 10. So
can you hear me now?
Yes, we can, brother. So, yeah.
Cool. Like I said before, sorry, if we eliminate the live albums and the double ups with the English and American versions of all the early albums, I would say it would barely sneak into the top 10. Obviously, we've got that classic period from 68 to 72. For me, it's better than Goat's Head Soup and It's Only Rock and Roll. It's hovering around 9 or 10 for me.
Better than Goat's Head Soup or It's Only Rock and Roll. Wow.
Yes.
Wow.
Yep. It's an album that's grown on me for sure. I don't know why. So
that's interesting. Yeah.
I mean, like everybody else, the 68 to 72 period, that those 5 albums in a row that they were unstoppable, and then we can't discount their first album, which was groundbreaking for young little white, and then obviously their R&B albums are very good, but it's a strong album. It's a strong album. I would probably put Tattoo You ahead of it, but if I was to compare apples and oranges, it'd be hovering around 9, 10, 11 for sure.
Yeah. It's kind of thereabouts, isn't it? There or thereabouts.
Well, I just like the fact that we can't listen to open G tuning 3 chords all the time, which we love the Stones doing, but it just gets boring. I love the fact that they try to do something different. The Melody song, the Memory Motel, they gave reggae a crack with Cheerio Baby. Hey, the drums weren't quite right. The simple fact that the choicest cuts of musicians were hanging around wanting to be in the band. I mean, that's special in its own right. The 75 tour, as we know, wasn't the greatest tour, obviously heavily induced by drugs. But, I mean, as far as the album and the sound, I think it's very...
Weird stage props.
and they got they had the guy Ollie Brown was someone with a big synthesizer on stage, and it got a bit out of because the 78 tour was very much stripped down. They realised, hey, listen, we're getting a bit too big for our britches. So yeah,
it was their punk stage.
Yeah. So to round off everything, I thanks once again, guys, for letting me on the show, and often overlooked. The critics didn't like it because they were just so used to a Stones formula. And if you're a proper musician, you're always trying to look for that lost chord or that certain riff or melody that sort of that you haven't heard before. So once again, the Stones, my hat's off to them for being innovative.
Awesome.
And
Awesome.
and what a way to celebrate the life of Billy Preston and Sly and Robbie with a tribute album, not a tribute album, but a reggae influenced album with Black and Blue.
I look forward to catching up with Carl next year, guys, because the channel's got a couple of goals. We want to do all the Beatles albums next year, and we've got a few more Stones albums that we want to do, because it's important, I think, for the channel. So we'll look forward to having Carl join us next year for a few more Stones albums. We have to do Tattoo You. The anniversary of that album came out, a couple of months ago. So that's certainly one album we need to redo, because I think we've already done it, but we need to go through and do that again. So we've got a few cats in the chat saying Tattoo You. We've got Philip saying Tattoo You. We know Jazz Thunder 50. He's our Scottish friend. He's been on the channel with us. He's done a guest slot with us. Jim. Look, I love that Blue and Lonesome album. I love it. We've also done that album too. So if you guys like the Rolling Stones, go back and have a look under the Sunday Show playlist. You'll see that we've done that album. One of my favorite Stones albums.
Yeah, interesting. I'm just picking up on what was it? I think Stephen Fish said that Chuck Leavell has been the musical director of the Rolling Stones since 1982, and new boy Darryl Jones only joined in 1994. So he's been slacking and doing it for 27 years.
well, they still consider Ron in 1975 still the new boy. And
I know, yeah.
That was when
new boy
a
Ronnie
year before
Wood.
I was
46 years later. 46 years later. New boy Ronnie Wood.
Yeah.
Oh dear. Yeah. Makes
Awesome.
me laugh, all of that. Yeah, so that's good fun. That is. But the Stones, not renowned for bringing people into the fold and giving them a shot too early. Renowned for their long audition periods.
Well,
years.
this channel's renowned for its auditioning as well too. So that's another thing that we got in common with the Rolling Stones. So we audition for people here on this channel too. Seriously, guys, look, that's probably a good way for me to start winding the show down. We're going to be live next week. Now, guys, I said that we were going to stream 12 o'clock lunchtime, New Zealand time, but unfortunately I've had to push it back a couple of hours because I have something that I have to do, some Christmas things. So we'll be going live at about 2:30, 3 o'clock New Zealand time. But if you guys go and have a look at the channel and go, as Brad said many, many times, click on it. It'll give you your local time when the Christmas show starts. So we've chucked out a few links to people. You people in the chat, most of you in the chat have probably got those links. If you haven't got the link to join us, give us a yell and we'll make sure you get that link. Now, just to let you guys know how we're going to run it, we've got one show where we did something similar, so we've got a bit of an idea. We can have up to 10 people on the stream. So we probably don't want to have 10 people because it's just going to be, we might have 6 or 7 at the most. But when you come into the stream, you'll be on the bottom. And if I don't drop you into the show immediately, just hang around, just wait, because some people are going to hang around for a long time and some people just want to pop on and say g'day. So we'll try and do it as best as we can, and just persevere.
Yeah,
that's fine. So I won't be on until later, clearly, because you'll be going on in the middle of the night. So I'll be doing the graveyard shift. Which is fine.
We're going to have a few giveaways. So if you guys want to share the link, Hoss is going to be doing a pedal giveaway. I'm going to be doing a pedal giveaway. If you guys are Van Halen tone chasers, and the channel's also going to do a Van Halen t-shirt giveaway. But as usual, you have to be in the chat The giveaways, the contests are only for the people in the chat, and that's the best way. That's the best way we'll do it.
Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah. So yeah, so don't forget to contact Andrew if you want to come on. That'd be great. Great to see you guys. Yeah.
Final words.
Yeah, couple of rules: no swearing, or well, one swear word. no swearing.
Mr. Potty Mouth, where is he? There he is. Out there.
No politics, please. No politics. That's swearing, actually. No politics. But you're more than welcome to come on, talk about your year as far as music goes. Some of the highlights, obviously, and some of the things, I suppose, that as music fans that we're looking forward to that might happen next year is always a good thing. Hoss is going to be on next week too, and he's going to be doing a tour through his studio as well. So we're going to be doing that as well.
Is that on the Friday, Andrew? Is that on the Friday?
No, we're doing. He's doing that on the Christmas show.
Okay, fine, good, excellent.
Yeah. So it's going to be controlled mayhem.
So yeah, just backing up what Andrew said. Keep it positive, guys. We don't want to bring the show on a downer. You know, we know the last couple of years have been awkward for everyone and a bit hard. So keep it on the upbeat. That's what this channel does. We keep things, entertaining for everyone. And if you get on the show and you pass the audition, you never know where you might end up.
Might end up on the show.
We're groundbreakers here. We're groundbreakers, bro, on this channel.
We make people. We make people and send them on their way.
That's right. We build them up and send them on their way to bigger and better things. That's what we should be doing. It's all about it.
Well, that's right. Look, we're seriously, guys, we're just happy hanging out. It's been a fabulously doing the Sunday show. I can't believe we've done 12 months. Can you remember the last the last Christmas show that we did on the channel? You know, and we spoke about some highlights. I remember talking about the Derek and the Dominoes album being a highlight for me with you guys. Remember that?
Yeah, with
Michael. Still a highlight, that one. That was a good show.
So Keith Campbell's going to join us, which is good. He mentioned that, so I do
Excellent, Keith.
I do contact Keith. I've got his details, so I'll flick him. And also Jim's going to join us as well. We're going to have some ladies here with us. I've given the invite to Helen as well and Christine. So, you know, we're if you guys are in the chat and you want to join us live, come on. Just come in. It's going to be great.
And Ellen, you ought to come on as well. So you can tell us stories of Brad's childhood. Child prodigy musician.
Bring those baby photos. Love you, bro. I love you, bro.
We are terrible, aren't we? That's buttered. Yeah, Christine's getting her drinking boots polished up. Well done, Christine.
Fantastic,
Cocktail, Christine. Good.
Seriously, we'd love to see you guys in the chat. You can come on. We're going to be streaming for 10 hours. So if I beat some of yous out, wow, you got yourselves to blame.
Oh, that failed the audition. Ringmaster Walton says, "You're off." Ding.
Yeah. No, but I think Keith, though, the 10 hours will be good for the time zones because we've got some people in Brazil that watch, some people in the UK, obviously,
amazing, yes.
and some people in the States that want to jump on. So it's just all part of us as hosts saying thank you to you guys.
Yeah, that'll be fun.
Yeah,
be fun.
Apparently, Ellen says that you would steal the show with your big eyes and smile as a baby, Brad. There you are. See, just makes us more curious. Baby Brad.
Alan knows that we love Brad too. She knows that. She knows that. We love Brad too.
We're just being cheeky.
Yeah.
We're
Philip
jealous,
Stace
really.
is not
That's
the
what
only
it
guy
is.
that loves Brad.
Clearly,
say,
he's got
I
a
did have a chance.
lot more status than we have.
No, I wasn't gonna name call, but I did have a chat to him this morning again. So there you go.
Bye, Janice. Janice, if you want to come on too, you've been a long time supporter of the channel.
Janice.
Yeah.
Flick Andrew a Facebook message or a Instagram message or a whatever, anything you can find.
Stephen, if there's anything
Cheers,
that you want us
Steve.
to
Wow.
attach to the channel, to the stream, please do. Flick something through, and I'll make sure we attach it. I promise. Okay, guys, I'm going to say one last thing, and then I'm going to pass it on to my co-hosts. We're counting down. It's been a pleasure. You guys rock. It's always cool hanging out with you. I love Sundays, hanging out with the Sunday boys. It's a pleasure talking music. It means a big part to me. You guys are awesome.
Yes. And if you want to come on next week, Steve, just contact Andrew via any method you can find. We're all on Instagram and stuff. Yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah.
Check it out.
Yeah, well, thanks for joining us, guys. Thanks to everyone in the chat. We won't go through every single one, but we can see you there and chatting away and having lots of fun. So thank you so much. If you haven't subscribed already, please make sure you do. Give us lots of thumbs up. Give us lots of love. Lots of love. We need it right now. We're a bit tender. We need it. So give us some love. And thanks so much, guys, for joining us again. And we love doing this, and we'll see you next week on the show. And Andrew, I think we passed the audition.
Awesome. We're back on. We can renew our contract for the show for next year, the 5150 show, and the British Electric Blues show. We're going to think seriously, guys, about shortening the channel name. Probably going to be Beebs TV, because that's the show that we do the most of on a weekly basis. So that stands obviously for British Electric Blues show. So probably, if you guys have any suggestions, nice suggestions for the name for the channel, bring them.
I can actually hear John. I can hear John coming up with some cheeky names right now as we speak.
Yeah. If you guys have some nice names that you think that we could call the channel that's going to fit into the theme that we do, flick them into the comments or share them next week with us. I can't guarantee that the three of us are going to take them seriously, but we might consider. There might be something. There might be something there, guys.
Yeah.
Yes.
Thanks again, guys. And, great album choice, Simon. We'll see you guys.
Interesting album choice, which is good, I think. Yeah. So take care, everyone out there in crazy land, and we'll see you next week. And as I say, if you want to come on, be nice.
I'm auditioning. I'm auditioning for some elves. If you guys know of any elves for the Sunday show.
Hey, Andrew, you're not showing our screen names.
Hobbits. Surely New Zealand has hobbits.
Oh. Hold on.
Screen names.
Go to the.
You don't have to show them.
It's because I got a banner up. Hold on, brother.
You don't have to show it. Bye.
Bye.
Isolate.
Nice.
Where are we?
Stop that now.
Is the arm sore? Is the
Yeah.
arm, is the arm sore?
Yeah. It's
You keep waving. Keep waving.
keep me waving. Keep waving. Bye.
All right, we're out of here.
Oh, dear.